doctor work for 9 months, 16 months, 19 months without getting paid.
But you see how much kidnappers are eating from victims.
My bill is government should, I think all the stakeholders in that sector, they need to be spoken to, and we sit together and agree to them. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
So it is support that is needed. And once you get the support, your airlines will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning, viewers. It's another edition of Inside Nigeria, Wednesday, October 6, 2021. And of course, you can see us here. We have our regular complement of persons. With me in the studio is Winifred Ogbebo, my co-anchor.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome.
Yeah, and of course, as you can see again from the screen, is our regular analyst, Jide Ojo, an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and syndicated columnist, and as well, TV personality. Welcome, Jide.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you
Thanks
very much. You know, you have been helping us every week to dissect issues inside Nigeria. And you know, of course, I and Winifred always have issues to talk about as mirrored by Nigerian newspapers.
It's a pleasure to be your guest.
Thank you very much, Jide.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Remember,
letting us your presence all the time.
We were talking about the World Teachers Day yesterday. There was nothing. There was no mention on Nigerian newspapers. But thankfully today, all the nurspapers have one thing or the other about Nigerian teachers. So once again, happy Teachers Day to teachers, our teachers, nursery, primary, and tertiary education levels. Well, viewers, as usual, we started with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Leadership. On the front page of Leadership this morning, Senate bends rule to allow President Muhammadu Buhari present 2022 budget tomorrow. Senate bends rules to allow President Muhammadu Buhari present 2022 budget tomorrow, Thursday. President returns medium-term expenditure framework to National Assembly for amendment, raises appropriation from 13.98 trillion to 16.4 trillion. Independent National Electoral Commission to get additional 100 billion for 2023 elections. As Naseni gets 54 billion, poverty reduction 510 billion, police operation 50 billion, and of course, health workers will get 50 billion naira package in the proposed 2022 budget. Jide, I don't know if you have gone through this story that the Senate is suspending some of its rules to allow President Buhari to address a joint session of the National Assembly tomorrow to present the 2022 budget estimate.
Well, congratulations. It's in order that at long last, the president is going to present the 2022 budget tomorrow, 7th of October. This is what this is against what they have previously told us that they will present it in September. I know it's a very tight one because the National Assembly, federal lawmakers went on their annual recess or vacation for 2 months and came back about middle of September. And since they came, they've been engaged in one thing or the other. But suspending the rule is actually that the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper must first be passed before the budget will come in.
Yeah, it's like
because
they will pass it today.
Yes, so and now they passed it earlier, but the president felt there is a need to amend some clause. But what's exciting to me is the election, the provisioning for INEC to hold 2023 elections. Why am I saying that? With the benefit of hindsight, in 2018, ahead of 2019 elections, there was no funding for 2019 election. As at 2018, the budget for INEC to conduct 2019 election came in June of 2018. And as I've said, not the entire money in World Bank or Central Bank of Nigeria can do the magic if there's no timely release of funds for preparations for elections. Because some of the items they will need have to be procured outside. Some will take as many as 6 months to procure one item. I recall that the chairman of INEC said to procure smart card reader, that small handheld device, takes 6 months. So if the budget, if they don't have the funds for 2023 budget as part of their budget for 2022, and the election for 2023 is going to be in February, then you could see that it will be a huge challenge to have. So I'm happy for that. And you recall that the president in his October 1 Independence Day speech actually lauded the leadership of National Assembly for working collaboratively and robustly with his administration to deliver on good governance. And this is one of such instances where the National Assembly had to bend backwards to accommodate the president, ensuring that the budget is not further delayed to be presented.
Now, well, I think the National Assembly, if the budget is actually presented tomorrow, because I don't think they are even sure. It's just that some pronouncements from presiding officers from National Assembly yesterday suggested that the president might show up tomorrow to present the budget. And probably today, a letter has been sent to both chambers to grant the president a leave to appear and present the budget. Well, we need to move away from that to business.
Yes, the national economy. Today's national economy says experts divided over single exchange rates. Experts divided over single exchange rates. And on the rider it says predict dollar will exchange for 800 by December. That means experts predict dollar will exchange for 800 naira by December.
Yeah, if care is not taken, and I think that is better imagined than experienced, because it's not just to be palatable.
Well, the issue with having single or multiple exchange rate is actually something that the Central Bank of Nigeria needs to think through. I know for many years we've had dual exchange rate. I recall that if some people are going on pilgrimage to other Mecca, they get a different official exchange rate as different for, and then certain level of exports or imports into the country. And there are certain waiver or incentive giving, so they get at a cheaper rate than the official exchange rate. But the Central Bank Monetary Policy Committee, in their own wisdom, felt it's better to close all of these multiple exchange rates and have just one integrated exchange rate. And of course, all these have their pluses and minuses, their merits and demerits. But the most important thing is that how do we show up the value of Naira? Naira is on the field for as we speak. It's now exchanged for over 500 Naira to a dollar. And that also affects other international currencies like euro and pounds. And this does not look well for a consumptive economy like Nigeria. Why so? Because if we are industrialized, maybe we will have had a stronger currency value. But you can see that at some point, yuan is now being accepted as a currency, so trade. If you take Naira to, I think there was that agreement between Nigeria and China that Nigeria can pay with Naira to do trade with China. But with the free fall of Naira, Nigerian currency is gradually becoming Zimbabwean dollar that is so high in figure but have low purchasing power. And you need to see what the price of electronics are in the markets today. Laptops, automobiles and all of that now Vehicles you buy for 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million now are going for almost double that price. Same thing with electronics because they are not manufactured in Nigeria. Again, you look at our fuel importation. If I don't know how we've been able to manage, but given the fact that we have to pay in dollars to have refined petroleum products, and that is draining our foreign exchange. And then our foreign reserve is sort of being depleted
Yes.
because when you don't have locally, you have to go and withdraw from your reserve, isn't it? It's like your own personal saving. You cannot have, as my people in Yoruba land will say, you can't have a penny at home and go and borrow a penny outside. You need to live within your income. But I think for us, as my own advisory, what we just need to do to show up the value of Naira, irrespective of whether you have one single exchange rate or multiple exchange, is to improve our productivity. Once you have able to have multiple channels of revenue, I believe that the value of Naira will increase. And that's why we need to look inward. And of course, I know Central Bank has cut down the number of items that they said they will not even give forex for their importation. But look at food. With the food shortage we have in Nigeria now, if you don't want people to go on the street protest, if you say you won't import rice, you won't. The other day they said Nigeria is spending $2 billion to import wheat alone, and without this wheat, the subsection of industries will be negatively affected. Like the price of bread have gone up as a result of scarcity of wheat. So if we can increase our production base, and that's why innovation and industrialization is very key. That's also why we need to fix our energy sector, particularly the power, electricity, because that is one of the key variables for industrialization. And it will also help in easing the ease of doing business. So if we are able to get on top of innovation, industry, and then we are more productive, the exchange rate will naturally become strengthened. The weakness is born out of too much demand on the little that we are able to handle. Unfortunately, we are spending about 80% of our revenue annually on debt servicing. So what is left?
What is left? Even though I know there are other school of thought that believe we also contribute, like you actually said, to this mess by dollarizing the economy. Why should somebody pay for goods and services in Nigeria with a foreign currency, with dollar? Why? That's another thing. So I think it's about a policy in place and the political will to actually drive it home. Honestly speaking, or else we continue to yes, and talk about this. Today we need to go on a short break. When we come back, we look at the next paper on our menu this morning. We'll be back shortly.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. It's still Inside Nigeria, and of course, Wednesday morning, October 6, 2021. We are still in the studio with our analyst, Jide Uju, an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and syndicated columnist. Well, we need to look at what is on the front page of this day, this morning, and of course, on the front page of this day, it's politics. Anambra poll. Yakubu sounds the alarm, says security never been this urgent. Anambra poll. Yakubu sounds the alarm, says security never been this urgent. And of course, Yakubu is the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, raising the alarm about the forthcoming Anambra State governorship election slated for November 6th. GD. A lot of things are happening in Anambra, and election is by the corner. What is your take?
Well, exactly a month from today. Today is 6th. The Anambra governorship election is supposed to hold in all the local government polling units in the southeast states. Unfortunately, with the pressure being mounted by different separatist groups, we are told IPOB 4 years ago actually said that there wouldn't be election in Anambra. But one way, they calmed down and people were able to come out to vote. And you know there are implications to not holding election as at when due.
Of course.
The constitution is cast in stone about when elections should be held. It says not more than 150 days and not less than 30 days to the expiration of the term of the incumbent. So you can't postpone beyond that period. And right now, all hands have to be on deck to secure the lives and property ahead of that poll. Already, there are threats. Even to do campaigns in convoy, as we used to see, is no longer possible in Anambra. In fact, out of all the candidates, only one that is using the national media that I know of that has been able to. But you won't find a huge gathering, whether at a public place, as we used to. It's just like meeting with traditional rulers and groups within small communities. But the kind of high-profile campaign that we saw in Edo, in Odo, where you see thousands of people gather, I've not seen any of the candidates being able to do that. And there are also fear that you cannot even paste any election materials on your house or public building. It could incur wrath of those who don't want the election to. And we saw this coming when INEC's facility was being attacked in Southeast State some couple of months back. I said this is targeted at Anambra election because what they are simply saying is that, okay, they know that if they target only Oka or Anambra, INEC can mobilize resources from adjoining states to come and replace whatever is lost. But now they have also been attacking those adjoining states. But I think it would be a shame on Nigerian government if, because of separatist agitation, we cannot hold election in one state out of 36. I think whatever it will take in terms of security, in terms of placating the different separatist groups, has to be done. We still have 1 month to the election date, because even if INEC should shift the date, it has a limit to that it cannot go beyond. And you need to work that backward from the day of inauguration. So if, for instance, the new government is supposed to take office on February 27, 2022, you need to count that days backward. It's 30 days, minimum of 30 days to that day, and maximum of 150 days to that day. But you know you cannot go for minimum. The reason being that in the event of a runoff, You need to conduct that one-off before the winner will emerge. And you never can, because Anambra State is one state with a lot of heavy political heavyweight. Is it Charles Soludo you want to talk about, or Vincent or Andy Uba, or Valentin Ozigbo, Andy Uba, and Ifeanyi Uba, even this guy, Obiora Nkoko.
Exactly. I think it should be a contest of money bags.
Money bags. And somebody said, I don't know how far that's true, that there are estimated 3,000 billionaires in Anambra alone. So it's a contest of money bags with people with deep pockets. But I think it would be a shame if elections could not be held as at when scheduled before, because you just can't postpone it indefinitely.
All right, we need to see what is on the front page of the last paper now, Wilfred.
Yes, that
the
is
Punch
newspaper.
Yeah.
Punch, that is at least Punch reported teachers.
Yeah, in the mood of the moment.
Yes, the teachers' new salary scale states National Union of Teachers on collision costs as government cites cash crunch. States NUT on collision costs as government cites cash crunch. On the rider, it says NUT dismisses state's excuses, says only governors against teachers won't honor new scale. Ogun, Ekiti, based implementation on availability of funds. Benue banks on increased allocation. Today's Punch.
Well, they say teachers' rewards are in level. Or as we speak, or as we can see, they are actually clamoring for their reward right here.
The states are insisting that they have to wait.
Well, I think education should be one sector we have called very, very serious priority, because no nation can develop above its level of
you and I, every one of us here seated are product of teachers.
Exactly.
If the teachers did not do a good job on us, we will not be a public analyst, we will not be media, juggernauts and all of that. So it's the foundation they gave us that we are built on to be who we are. A medical doctor, a space a robotic engineer, whatever you want to call yourself, a senior advocate, they are all molded by teachers. And teachers' reward should no longer be in Emo. Unfortunately, my father's reward was in Emo. He was a teacher for 40 years. Retired in 1995. For 3 years, he waited for his pension and gratuity. He never got it until he died July 2nd, 1998. So, teachers' reward is, for most part, has been in Emo. But it shows the need for us to prioritize education, because no nation can develop without human capital development. And how do you get human capital developed if not through teaching and learning? And beyond welfare of teachers, which I support 100%, it's also the improvement of facilities in our various schools. If you go to some schools, you will be shocked at the level of dilapidation of infrastructure in those schools. And yet, one thing that shocks me, Bode and Winifred, is that there are intervention agencies that are supporting this education sector, but the impact are not being felt because of corruption and also nonchalant attitude of our governors. Let me give you an instance. With Universal Basic Education Commission, there are billions of naira unclaimed by many states that is life fallow, all because you need to bring your matching grants. So if you have 1.3 billion to collect, you are expected to bring another 1.3 billion, and then you have 2.6 billion to do development. But to even go and borrow this money to collect it, the one from UBE, has become a problem. With that fund, you don't need matching grant, but unfortunately, that fund has a lot of resources for research and development, which are not being claimed because people don't even know. Lecturers don't know how to write proposal. You said?
Third fund is for universities.
The third fund is for tertiary institutions, not for universities alone. Universities, colleges of education, and polytechnics, including whether federal or state. And that's it. So we have these interventionist agencies that are supposed to support the provisioning of infrastructure in our education institutions. But you could still see a lot of restiveness in that sectors. We are talking of teachers today. Yes, their welfare has never been paramount. In times gone by, we used to have car loans for teachers, special incentive for teachers who are posted to rural communities.
That was years gone by.
That was years gone by. But these are people who mold the leaders of tomorrow. And we need to dignify and make them women by incentivizing them to do better.
We need to dignify our teachers. Many thanks to you, Jide.
It's a pleasure.
Abuja-based public affairs commentator, for finding out time to join us at the Leadership podcast studio this morning. And of course, our morning show, Inside Nigeria. And as usual, we hope to see you again.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we need to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Salihu Mohammed Lukman, Director General, Progressive Governors Forum, to talk about APC and politics of 2023. We'll be back shortly.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back, and of course, it's still Inside Nigeria this Wednesday morning, October 6, 2021. As we speak, we are being joined by Salihu Mohammed Lukman, Director General, Progressive Governors Forum. Good morning, Mr. Salihu.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you.
Welcome to Inside Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for creating time to join us this morning. Yeah, straight to business, Mr. Salihu. Just a few weeks ago, you wrote an article or a press statement calling for the amendment or review of the manifesto of the ruling All Progressive Congress. So can you bring us up to speed? Has that been done? And what has been missing? And what do you want to be accommodated in the manifesto of the ruling party?
Well, I think we should get it very clear. I mean, it's not a question of whether it has been done or not. There is an ongoing process already within the party, which is about making effort to rebuild the structures of the party. And in doing that, it's also about responding to a number of issues which have emerged over the years. The manifesto of the party was adopted in 2014. And between 2014 and now, there is a lot of progress. Some initiatives have been taken along the line, but new developments have emerged. And there is the need to really ensure that in responding to those new developments, the party manifesto capture it. So it's not a question whether it has been done. I think it's an issue that is an attempt to really focus the leadership to say it needs to be prioritized. I'm sure it's not something that is missing. Already the leadership may be considering it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Salihu, as the Director General of the Progressive Governors Forum, we want to know, before the formation of the PGF, we have the Nigerian Governors Forums, which comprise the 36 state governors. Now we have the Progressive Governors Forum, we have the PDP Governors Forum, and again, we even have Regional Governors Forum, Southern Governors Forum, Northern State Governors Forum. And again, down again, we have Southeast, we have Southwest Governors Forum, Northeast Governors Forum, Northwest Governors Forum. All these governors forums here and there. Do you think we actually need all these bodies, or the Nigerian Governors Forum, which is the umbrella body, is okay as a think tank that will drive policy matters?
Well, first, I think we need to understand politics more very well. You have 36 governors. 36 governors belonging to different parties. And even within the context of those different parties, they also have different interests, as the case may be. So the question of how they organize themselves to respond to their different interests is what is being reflected. If you look at Nigerian Governors Forum, date back to possibly around 2003, thereabout, or even before that, which was the beginning of the democracy. And before then, of course, there has been Northern Governors Forum. I am not sure about Southern Governors Forum. I read somewhere there was an attempt during Asuwaju to organize, which will be before 2007. So there has been all those initiatives. But I can speak more authoritatively in terms of the PGF, in terms of the Progressive Governance Forum. The initiative came about during the merger negotiation. Governors, that time there were 11. There were 11 governors among the parties belonging to the parties that were negotiating the merger. And while the negotiation was going on, they decided to work together. And if you remember, I think the first meeting of the 11 governors took place in Lagos before even the negotiation reached the stage of agreeing on name and other issues, and thereafter they met, they went to Maiduguri and met, so there were consultations going on. And it's all around a question of how they influence the success of the merger negotiation at that point. But as the merger negotiation was succeeding, I think they saw the need to institutionalize what they started. And at that point, they took the decision to invite some of us to organize the secretariat. And they were very clear. The responsibility of the secretariat was basically to perform what they call think tank role, provide some intellectual advice, in terms of how they can do things. And it was very clear it's also around the need, which is part of the outcry out there in the public, that you can't differentiate between APC and other parties. But the governors, while organizing the Progressive Governors Forum, were clear they wanted to have a situation where the process of political evolution will also factor a situation where they are able to have some level of uniformity in terms of policy implementation in their different states. And that was how immediately they approved the setup of the secretariat. Some of the first thing we did was to set up programs. And around those programs, it's not just what came out in the public most of the time. It's when governors meet, then there is a lot of report, a lot of media hype about governors meeting. But there have been meetings of secretaries to government, meetings of different commissioners at different levels, depending on what are the issues that need to be responded to. For instance, just in the last 3 months, commissioners of information of all APC states met with information managers at federal level. Commissioners at different, there have been consultation going on with attorney generals of APC state based on the need to implement decisions around the question of autonomy of judiciary, autonomy of legislators in APC states. And the most important thing is for the whole question of the consultative process to carry along the whole issue of peer review. And our governors, have given all the enabling environment for that. So this is not something that you can say can be pigeonholed into one central body that accommodate governors from different parties, from different shades. For instance, even the whole question about challenges, what to do with grazing, what to do with livestock management and what have you. Under one of our programs, which is the legislative program, there is a whole consultation going on in terms of, okay, what do we do to come up with a policy based on some minimum agreement among all our states across all the country, whether it is south or north. That consultation is going on, and it's our attorney generals of the APC state that are driving that consultations. And eventually, we may likely come up with what we call a prototype bill, which can be, if once approved, for instance, you can do on a multi-party basis. Because in doing that, we will have to look at provision of our manifesto, and other parties should also go and do that based on what their manifesto states.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hello, sir. Are you hearing us?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm here.
I just want to find out from you, what is your view on rotational presidency within the confines of APC?
Well, I think this is an issue that is being overlooked, and I think somehow the public noise is creating a lot of distraction. The main point, which I have raised in one of my recent write-ups, is that the decision, eventually it has to be within the party. And we must encourage our leaders to come back to the structures of the party and engage themselves and consult and take, when decisions are taken, that decision should be respected. The major issue, and if you read my last write-up, is almost an appeal to all leaders, because a number of these issues are emerging because it will appear some level of confidence is breaking down. Leaders need to come back and have stronger confidence in themselves, engage themselves, but more importantly, also respect each other. Because in the absence of respecting each other, even when decisions are taken, there may be some foot dragging. But when there is respect, once decisions are taken, whether it is the kind of decision I want or not, but because I participate in that decision-making process, I should be able to respect it. I think if I want to be very clear in terms of the process of deciding eventually how the presidential candidate is going to emerge, there has to be level of discussion from the National Executive Council, and it's not just with respect to APC, even with respect to PDP, And some of the basic issues is basically that, okay, you come up with some kind of criteria of how you are going to elect your presidential candidate. And eventually it is the National Convention that is going to finalize the election process. So you are not going to have a resolution based on media debate, but you can have a resolution based on internal engagement. And sometimes when wrong steps are taken, it complicates matters. As you can see, there is a lot of hot air out there, which affects some of the internal mindset of leaders, and that needs to be corrected. The best way to correct it is to appeal to leaders rather than talking outside. I would prefer a situation where, for instance, tomorrow, a National Executive Council meeting of APC is convened and debate is taken, and we begin to have indication. You may not be able to take decision immediately, but there will be indication in terms of what need to be done before decisions are taken. And the most important things about democracy is the fact that we expect that the final decision will reflect the view of the majority. Now, how leaders are able to provide leadership, because the main issue, why are these things being debated? It's because there are issues around the whole question of equity, the whole question of justice, the whole question of ensuring that every part of the country is carried along. Now, you can't carry every part of the country based on a language that seek to antagonize, but if you do, there are issues, there are skills in negotiation which require that sometimes you have to take things even away from the table itself and do some consultation back door. And this is what leaders are expected to do. I have argued the strength of APC is that we already have a standard. In 2013, 2014, there was no this debate, and it's not a question that there was an issue around zoning or no zoning in APC. There was no question about that at all. But leaders were able to understand themselves and drive the process. And even when we got to the convention and everybody from every part of the country was contesting, there was no issue about that. The only thing APC was able to do was to provide level playing field and ensure transparency. Now, these are some of the internal discussions that need to take place. What do we do to ensure that transparency and level playing field?
All right, Mr. Lukman, thank you very much for your thoughts. You need to stay with us for just 1 minute. We still have a couple of questions for you before we allow you go. But we need to go to National Assembly now, where our correspondent will be talking to us live about happenings there ahead of President Muhammadu Buhari's presentation of the 2022 budget tomorrow. Sunday Iswa. Okay, it's like we're having challenges with that connection. Okay, we'll come back to Sunday if there is time. So, Mr. Lukman, coming back to you. All right. All right, Sunday, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, what's happening at the National Assembly complex ahead of President Muhammadu Buhari's visit to present the budget tomorrow?
Yes, from all indication, the president will be here tomorrow because from the way the security architecture have been arranged, the DSS are everywhere and arrangements are being made. It shows that it's not the normal security settings of the National Assembly. The people from the presidency and the DSS have taken over some strategic places. Right from my back is where the Senate will be deciding today on the reverse MTEF that was sent back to the National Assembly for their consideration. And the MTEF is what should set the pace for the president to present the budget tomorrow. And without the MTEF, the presentation of the budget may not be realized. And that is why the Senate yesterday have to bend their own rules in order to expeditiously pass the MTEF possibly today, because the item that was sent from the president is supposed to be in the order paper, and the process should have taken about 1 or 2 weeks, for the lawmakers to do thorough investigation on the items that the president listed in the MTEF. But as it is now, the Senate leader, Yahaya Abdullahi, yesterday told the lawmakers that they are going to bend the rules in order to allow an expeditious passage of the MTEF so that the president will be allowed to present the 2022 appropriation tomorrow. And right at my back, the appropriation bill will be presented in the chambers of the House of Representatives, which is right in my back. And from all indication, everything is set. The security agencies are doing their work, and the lawmakers are also going about their normal businesses in order to, pass the MTEF. But right now, the order paper for the Senate is not ready, as at the time that I visited the the office where I can get the order paper is still not ready, but from all indication, the budget will be presented tomorrow by Mr. President.
Okay, finally, Sunday, as customary of the National Assembly, whenever President Buhari will be coming, there will be new face lifting and painting here and there. Do you notice anything like that?
No, there is nothing like painting, but it's just about the security arrangement. Yes, it has changed. The DSS vehicles are in strategic location, and some of the officers of the DSS have been taken right inside the complex of the National Assembly, apart from the other officers that are outside around the three-arm zone. So everywhere is tight, and businesses are going on, and the security arrangement shows that the president will be laying the appropriation bill tomorrow, Thursday.
All right, thank you very much, Sunday. Iswa Leadership National Assembly correspondence came to us live from the National Assembly complex here in Abuja. We've been speaking earlier with Mr. Salihu Mohammed Lukman, Director General, Progressive Governors Forum on APC and Politics of 2023. Mr. Lukman, we are back to you. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
All right, like I said earlier, we have a couple of questions for you before we allow you go. So now, let's look at the Progressive Governors Forum, where you are the Director General. So will you say, since the formation of that Association of Governors, it has achieved its aims and objectives so far? Hello, Mr. Saliu.
Hello.
All right, like the connection is having some issues, and we don't have much time again. If Mr. Saliu is able to join back, he will conclude his thought. But if it's not, Winifred, we have to say goodbye for today because of want of time. All right.
Mr. Saliu, is he hearing us?
I don't think he can. He's not able to join for some reason. Winifred, it's time to go.
Yes. Well, Mr. Saliu, we'll still have him again on the program.
We hope so.
Later. For now, just like you said, it's been an interesting inside Nigeria. So tomorrow is still another day. So do you ask, keep a date with us?
All right, from here, my name is Bode Gbadebo. Keep a date with us tomorrow for another edition of Inside Nigeria. If possible, Mr. Saliu Mohammed Lukman will be back tomorrow to actually finish this discussion about the ruling party and the politics of 2023, if time allows. For now, bye for now.
Bye.